And DeRozan has performed like a superstar this year. He is so fascinating to me. It becomes one of these, here's what DeMar DeRozan did, and here's what DeMar DeRozan has been doing. And it becomes this refresher on, and then immediately it turns to, hey, now, we should be talking about him too and what he's doing in Chicago. Kevin, he is on a crazy run.
Yeah, last 9 games, DeMar DeRozan is averaging 37.6 points, 5.4 assists, only 3.1 turnovers, shooting 60% from the field, 35% from 3 on 24.4 shot attempts per game. The usage, the efficiency, the scoring volume, all of it. 38 points per game. If I'm averaging up 38 points per game over 9 games, scored 30 plus in all 9 of them. The thing is, though, is this, Chris, since he got back from an absence in mid-December, it's not like he was putting up low numbers. He had 27 points per game over his previous 23 games. So he was putting up monstrous numbers. It's just now they're giving him 5 more shots per game than he was having previously. And his efficiency is just off the charts here. And I feel like the Bulls right now, we'll see if he can sustain these numbers. But watching these games, it feels sustainable. And I like watching. It's as if Chicago just said, you know what, DeMar, you go get MVP. It doesn't mean he'll get it in the end, but it's as if they just said, we realize you are clearly our best player, and we are going to ride you to victories here on the offensive end of the floor. He's been empowered to play in this way, Vernon. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, and the other guys on that team deserve credit for that.
Oh,
right? Because
100%.
that's what enables it. And he last night became the 7th player in NBA history with 8 straight 35-plus point games.
Unbelievable.
These are the names, Kev. Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, James Harden. That's the entire list of guys that have done this. 7th player in NBA history with 8 straight 35-point games. And I saw our buddy Zach Cram post this morning one of the advanced numbers, the highest win probability added in clutch situations this season. And the list was number 5, Jokic, number 4, Monk, number 3, Kuzma, number 2, Steph, number 1, DeRozan. And he said that's not a typo. DeRozan has more than double the clutch wins added than anyone else in the NBA. And that's just a fancy way of saying when the game's on the line, this guy delivers over and over and over again. And his team is amazing. Like, they are having one of the great seasons in the Eastern Conference. And they've got a chance to be the number 1 seed when this is all said and done, because looking right now, as of this morning, they're a half game up on the Heat. They're the number 1 team in the conference, and he is doing historical things. I do feel like he is, it was going to be very difficult to bust up that Jokic, Embiid, Giannis triumvirate that we were all, settled on arguing 2 and 4, those different players. But DeRozan has put his name square on the map, I feel like.
Sure. I mean, when you think about MVP, one of the arguments for Embiid was the fact that he was carrying the Sixers roster to a top 6 seed without Ben Simmons. That was one of the arguments. With DeMar DeRozan, you can look at, since Christmas, Caruso has played only 6 games. Lonzo has played only 2 games. And despite that, since Christmas, the Bulls have the 8th best record in the NBA. They're 20-11. This is this real extended stretch of DeRozan being a dominant force since he got back himself in mid-December. Never mind just the last 9 games. But the Bulls have managed to continue winning the far majority of their games because of DeRozan's play in clutch moments, as you said. And just also, like, on the rest of this roster, guys like Ayo Dosunmu, he's the one who set up that the ability for Chicago to win last night's game with his defense on Trae Young. Dosunmu, a rookie player coming in. Javonte Green stepping up ever since Patrick Williams goes down. Nikola Vucevic, as you pointed out a couple weeks ago when we were talking, Chris, Vuce putting up bigger numbers. Granted, he didn't in last night's game, but Vuce has been putting up bigger numbers. Everybody on this team from top to bottom has managed to step up in ways that they need to. And this sets the team up for when Caruso's back, when Lonzo Ball's back. They're going to have the trio of Dosunmu, Ball, and Caruso, those guys on the wing. Like, how do you score against those guys? Never mind if they get Patrick Williams back sometime in April from his hand injury. Like, the Bulls check all of the championship boxes, all of them. They just need their guys back.
Great combination. And we talk about this all the time about the way, typically the best teams are built. And that is you've got your stars and you've got your role players, and they know who they are within the context of that team. And that's what's been most impressive about Chicago is throwing together three guys that at the end of games, they would be the guys that were taking shots, whether it was Levine, whether it was Vucevic, whether it was DeRozan. And none of them were on good teams. None of them. Right? Like the San Antonio wasn't any good. Chicago wasn't any good. And neither was Orlando for sure. But then they kind of filter around them with these role players. Everybody slides into place. They have done it despite the injuries. And it's always dangerous when you're facing a team. This is what you wanted the Lakers to be, in the sense that, my God, when you're facing a team that has three different guys that could drop 30 on you any given night, that is a scary proposition. Like, Chicago is what this is supposed to look like. It is what these super teams are supposed to look like, which is the three guys that on any given night could kill you by themselves, but they do it in unison. And it is second tier stars. These aren't the super duper stars in the league, but man, it fits. And DeRozan has performed like a superstar this year. He is so fascinating to me.
Well, dude, I mean, that go-ahead jumper he hit with 15 seconds last night. He drives right, spins left, and he has two defenders just all over him. And it still swishes the bucket like it playing in Chicago. It's Jordan-esque. It's a Kobe-esque shot. I mean, that's who DeMar DeRozan, like Kobe watched Jordan, DeRozan watched Kobe. I mean, I talked with DeRozan about that years ago for a story on The Ringer. It's like he wants to be like them on the court. That's the players he watched, their footwork, the where they get to on the court. It's kind of just amazing to see. Like forget about the Bulls for a second. Just watching DeRozan do what he does in those endgame situations, isn't it just a pleasure to watch him play, Chris?
For sure.
Like, isn't it just, it's just beautiful, isn't it? It really is beautiful to watch him play.
And he got beat up for a lot of years for what his game is. And the crazy thing about this DeRozan year is the league has come back around to him. Now these teams, so many times defensively, they are predicated upon running you off the three-point line and stopping you at the rim, because those are the most efficient baskets for teams. And so it stands to reason that defenses would say, hey, if we could do a good job at guarding the three-point line, if we could do a good job at guarding the rim, then it's going to go a long way towards us getting victories. And many times you will see that to be true of the teams that are the best at guarding those. Now, that has changed a little bit.
Can I interject all there, Chris? I want to interject real quick there with like the numbers. So on cleaning the glass in Toronto, I'm just going to read his deep mid-range shooting percentage year by year real quick. 38, 42, 34, 41, 39, 35, 36, 40, 41. Then he gets traded to the Spurs. 40, 45, 49. Now with the Bulls, shooting a career high 49% from deep mid-range.
I would argue, yes, there is improvement, but more so, this is the shot that teams want you to take.
Shots. It's like, so it could be a little of both. It could be,
yes.
It could be A, DeRozan has made micro improvements to his game to become slightly more efficient on these shots. It could also be defenses have become more willing to let some of these shots get a little bit more open, because not all of them are like the one I described last night with two guys over him to go ahead in the game. Not all of them are like that. I think it is both things. He's gotten slightly better, slightly more crisp as a ball handler with his footwork, like he has. Every year DeRozan has worked on his game hard. And it is also the way defenses have changed. I don't think it's a coincidence that the numbers really leap up by 4, 5, 8 percentage points the last couple of years with the way defenses have changed.